Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. In case you're new to the channel, this is a segment where you get to ask questions, and we'll usually pick the question that matches the vibe of the moment or the most requested question, and we'll make a show on it. You can always email me, Dr. Mumbi at drmumbishow.com. And I've been getting such amazing emails. Hey, you guys are some high vibing beings. It's amazing. Talking, asking questions really about so many things that we are going to get into, from sexuality to dimensions, many things, beloveds. But I recently talked about why it's good to cover your head in certain situations. Please go ahead and check out that video. And I was mainly talking about how, especially when you're doing any kind of spiritual work, just because of all the activity and action that is going on in the spiritual realms. And remember, this is like a portal. Even when you're born, beloveds, this is the most sensitive part of your head. And usually, the mothers will do anything to protect this part. This is the part that closes in the last. And it's very significant because this is literally what connects you to the cosmic realms, to the realms beyond this one, to the spiritual realms, beloveds. And some didn't understand how just that wearing a headscarf can, block out, certain negative, nefarious vibrations, how it can act as a defense. And beloveds, if you don't get it, don't stress yourself. Because as I said, as above, so below. Meditate on that. There is so much action, symbolic action in what we do. It's almost like this world and that world, our spiritual and our physical, are mirrors of each other. And that's why you can pray in the spiritual and it affects your physical. You can make intentions in the spiritual. You can, do a ritual in the spiritual and it will affect your physical. It will either bring in supernatural protection, supernatural abundance, and many other things. So there is that connection that you should really ask your spiritual team to show you, because it's an absolutely beautiful thing. But, I was speaking to one of my Patreon family, Donetta, I think that's her name, and she was telling me, have you noticed how a lot of African women cover their heads at night, whether it's to protect the weave, to not make the pillowcase oily, whatever the reason. And this is something, she was contacting me from the Caribbean, so she was saying that's something that happens there, and of course in the divided states, all over Africa. And the funny thing is, here in Africa, when people, before the age of weaves and wigs, you already know how I feel about those, when women reached a certain age, they would just start to cover their heads all the time. But why do African women around the world, what's the spiritual, meaning behind that? It's because, beloveds, there's so much spiritual activity. You see, we're different, beloveds. We're not like the other, quote unquote, humankind here. We move differently, which means we're connected. We're not just physical. We're connected to many different spiritual realms, and many of us travel to those realms or bring information from those realms while we're while we're dreaming. But also the negative, dimensions, the lower vibrational dimensions, they love to operate at night. And usually they operate through spiritual attacks, through trying to program your mind so that certain things happen to you, so that certain events take place, or so that, you block yourself. So usually it's a psychic attack that happens at night. And if they're able to influence your dream state and you're unaware of it, you can then, manifest some of these things the following day. Like they can say, you'll take a loss in your job. And then if you are not aware that manipulation has happened in your dream, then the next day you'll see a loss, and you may not correlate it to the fact that someone, psychically attacked you. That's what psychic attacks are. Psychic attacks are negative thoughts towards a person, beloveds. That's what psychic attacks are. The thoughts of envy and jealousy, which are the most wicked, because people will kill, steal, and destroy for them. It's so crazy. Those are such, powerfully negative, principalities that have such negative consequences when you follow them. But also just, when people, these are just levels when people haven't added, when they get their intentions towards you. are just that they hope you fail, they hope you die, they hope your business collapses, they hope your marriage collapses, they hope you never have children. All these things, beloveds, are like minor spells. And then people will add candle magic to it. People will add grave magic to it. People will put people in bottles to lock their destinies and all of this. And it's all being done at night, beloveds. So that's why we're told that, before we sleep, we should, call in our protection. Our protection is always there, but just acknowledge them. And that's why we should cover, because these nefarious characters, they often start operating from around 9 p.m. So that's where the bedtime prayers kind of situation comes from. Although I found out something really interesting, beloveds. In my community, first of all, we never prayed, we called. We called things into our experience. But secondly, we only prayed, called forth. I don't even know. I have to find the word. I have to get the Kikuyu word and use that. At midday and at 3 a.m. Because for us, the day started at 3 a.m. I found that so fascinating. And then midday. I found that so fascinating, beloveds. Tell me some of the, calling or prayer traditions in your communities that you found out. I'd absolutely love to hear that, because I'm feeling like we need to get more into those kind of rituals so that we align ourselves more with our people, and we get out of being aligned with this foreign, cancer, literally, beloveds. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Ask Dr. Mumbi. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. By the way, we do have a relocation service called Karibu Nyumbani on Patreon. And I would highly recommend, for all those people who have contacted me saying they want to go back to the motherland, I will highly recommend you join for as little as $5 a month, or actually add $5 a month, and check out the dozens and dozens of videos that I've done on the relocation journey back to the motherland. But why do African women, black women, melanated women, sun women, why do sun women cover their heads at night, beloveds? It's so that you protect the channel. And you see, this should show you how powerful our physical actions are. The actions we may take for granted, lighting that candle in honor of your ancestors, lighting that candle for peace, for good health. But we may take for granted what our physical actions mean and the kind of ramifications they have in the spiritual world, but it's significant. And especially because most of that negative energy is coming from these lower planes this density that we find ourselves in. When we put that helmet on at night, and then it's replicated spiritually, as above, so below, as below, so above. It's like the spiritual us, which is above this realm, is now, taking over and puts on that shield as a mirror. And so these lower level beings just won't get through. And there are signs when maybe they're trying to get through, is when maybe the spirit will wake you up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or midnight. And at that time, you'll really struggle to wake up, because the physical realms, the density realms have a play in that. But the best thing is to wake up and, follow the instructions of spirit, whether it's to light a candle, whether it's to say a small prayer. I know I'm so addicted to that word. Whether it's to play some, high vibing music in your house so it fills every room. You'll always know exactly what you need to do. Or sometimes it's just to sit up. Because I don't know what the connection is, but when you're awake, it kind of blocks what they're trying to do. Because you see, they're trying to implant death, disease, sickness, illness into your dream state, into your dream world. And remember, I always say the mind doesn't know the difference between what we live and what we dream. And most of them will try and penetrate us mentally at that time. That's why you'll have visions of an uncle or something, because they're sending those darts to us as programs so that they can manifest in our lives. Because everything happens spiritually first, which means like on the mental plane, on the energetic plane. So they can send these darts and they can like manipulate things. That's why if you ever see yourself defeated in a dream, you should go back to that scenario and make sure you defeat your enemy. It's that serious, beloveds. And that's why it's so important for us to dream, to ask to dream more, to be more aware of our dream world and our spiritual world. That world should be as real as this one. Because until you reach a certain point, many people will try and penetrate you at that level first. That's where the real war is. I told you guys, the war is mental. If you're already seeing the destruction physically, then that means the mental war was lost. But the fact that many of you are still standing means the battle continues. And there's a famous, native Indian saying that goes, as long as one soldier remains on the battlefield, then the dance must go on. So stand firm, stay uplifted. You got this. Tuko pamoja.